Hey guys, in this video we're going to be going over the micro drones that showed up on my channel over the past month, January 2018. And we'll just start off with the 3-inch class. There really was only one that showed up this month, and it was the Furry Bee Genius here. There was another one called the Skyzone 140. I haven't had a chance to fly that one yet, so that'll show up. We'll take a look at that next month. But this was the 3-inch that showed up for January, and it's a pretty big model, 160 millimeters motor, kind of a super stretch X. You can check out that full review. Honestly, I thought it was a good flyer, but probably I would stick with the XJB 145 from a couple months ago. That one's lighter. It's also a stretch X, but not quite as exaggerated as this, and it has 1407 motors. It's just as fast as this, but not as heavy. And I prefer lighter versus heavy. Now, if you prefer this sort of look and style, then obviously, you can't get this kind of look anywhere. And these larger, I think these are like 1506 motors, I believe. Yeah, these larger 1506 motors are not particularly popular on a lot of 3-inch models. You'll probably find this more on a 4-inch. But it's a good motor. It's plenty of power, but this is quite a bit heavier than the XJB 145. Now in the 2-inch class, the only ready to fly that showed up this month was the Hummingbird from GEP-RC. This is a fully built model and comes with a tune from the factory. You can check out that review if you want full details on this. It's a pretty good flyer. I think that I would probably go with some different props and maybe update the firmware on this to a newer version, something like that. I haven't had a chance to fly this a whole lot, but as I mentioned in that video, this comes with the bigger 1106 motors, and I think that the 1106 motors are better suited to the 2.5-inch class instead of the 2-inch class. And I talked about that in the Babyhawk video previously. So if you're looking for a 2-inch micro, check this one out. It's kind of similar to the way the Babyhawk-R flies, and it has different designs, so you might prefer this sort of better protection with a carbon plate instead of a plastic canopy. Now, if you're going for something you want to build, I would say check out the Ascent ultralight build. This is from earlier in the month, and this is a very, very light build. It flies very well on 2S, pretty good speed and acrobatics on 2S, and comes in extremely lightweight. I prefer, as I said, I prefer light versus heavy, and this was actually a very fun flyer. I flew this quite a bit, and with a lighter battery and everything, I feel like it's safer to fly in a lot of places I normally fly, like at local parks and stuff. You can't hear it, and if you crash into stuff, you're not going to break anything. So check out this review. This is for a build. I like this one a lot. For another build, I did do a drone lemonade video where I transferred parts from the Furby 90 GT into this Ascent 2-inch frame from FlexRC. And I feel like for the 2-inch class, 1104 size motor is going to be your optimal size on 3S for a 2-inch prop. This is basically a complete parts transfer over to this frame, and it flew really well. I've been flying this a lot, and I enjoy flying this one. So if you're looking for something to build, check out the Ascent 2-inch frame from FlexRC, and then you can put in some similar parts. 1104 7500 kV motors on 3S with like a 10 amp 4-in-1 AC and like an Omnibus F3 or F4. That should get you going a little micro 20 by 20 second. You should get something pretty similar to this performance, but again, check out that video if you want to see more details on this one. Okay, so we got a couple of ready to flies that came in the 2.5-inch class. We have the Aurora RC Mini Fight, and then we have the SBC Maker 110 VT. Now, they're pretty similar in terms of specs. The Mini Fight's an F3 flight controller, and the 110 VT is an F4 flight controller. And the 110 VT has a better camera, the RunCam Swift, and this one has a generic CCD micro camera. The motors are the same in both, and the props are the same in both. They're the Gemfan 2540s, Sunny Sky 1106 5500 kV, and they both fly on 3S. The Mini Fight's a little bit bigger motor to motor than the 110 VT. I think it's like around 150, 120 millimeters, and the 110 VT is 110 millimeters. The 110 VT is a little bit lighter than the Mini Fight. They both perform fairly similarly in terms of power because they have a similar power setup and the motors. But the B-Fight is significantly less expensive. Now, it doesn't come with the batteries, case, or any of the extra accessories that the SBC Maker does. That's what all the SBC Maker models have, the extra stuff, which is what you're paying for, but the price difference is pretty significant. So you can check the links It varies, but I think it's something around $60 more for the SBC maker. So if you want something where if you went to that video, you notice that it came with a tune. I flew it with a tune from the factory. I had to tune the mini-fight. The tune that came with the factory in the mini-fight didn't work that great, and I did have to go through a tuning process to get that to work. But you can get my PIDs from that video if you want to duplicate the PIDs on this particular model. And if you don't need batteries or any of the extra stuff, then I would suggest going for the mini-fight because it is a lot more cheaper than the SBC maker. But if you want something that will fly better out of the box, then the SBC maker is the one to get because it flies with a tune out of the box. It flies pretty well. Now, I did do a video on the Babyhawk-R where I did a conversion to a 2.5 inch set of arms here. Obviously, this is not in the category of an RTF because you have to basically transfer the parts over to this frame. And I don't even know if this frame has come out yet. It's just a single unibody 2.5 inch set of arms for the Babyhawk-R. I haven't been told when that's going to be coming out or if it's going to be coming out. There are a set of replacement arms you can get for the 2-inch Babyhawk-R. You can replace the arms. It's going to be heavier than what I reviewed in that video. But if you want the 2.5 inch performance that you saw in that video, check out those parts. I'll put the links in the description for that. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different from what I reviewed before, but it should be pretty similar. And as I mentioned before, I think the 2.5 inch class, the 1106 motors are the way to go. More power on the 2.5 inch prop on 3S, and the bigger 1106 motors just aren't really well suited for a 2-inch micro. The extra weight just doesn't really carry over as well in terms of the power as much as it does on a 2.5 inch setup. So my conclusion on the 2.5 inch class is that if you want the most inexpensive one and ready to go, get the B-Fight. If you want something a little more expensive but pretty much ready to go and very little work to do, get the SBC maker 110 VT. But if you're willing to go through a lot of extra work and such, check out the Babyhawk-R and then do the 2.5 inch arm conversion. That is quite a lot more work, but I think that it'll fly really well. The Babyhawk-R does fly really well on 2.5 inch props. So that's going to do it for this video for the month of January. They've got a bunch more stuff coming in February in the 2.5 inch and 3 inch class. Not a whole lot of 2 inch stuff seems like it's on the way, so it seems like 2017 was the year for the 2 inch micros. Now we're kind of moving on to the 2.5 inch micros. Probably not going to be reviewing too many of the 3 inch micros. Going to be doing more of the 2.5 inch class. This is the class that is going to be the one to look at for 2018. So we'll see more of these in February. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.